Well, first of all, I want to say that I want to make a disclaimer. I'm a newbie, okay? So go easy on me. My information that I looked up for history, and I came from the internet or this Candlewick book, and of course, if it's from the internet, it's true. But if I misunderstood or mislabeled something, if you know better, please tell me. I'm always open to criticism. Anyways, Candlewick, everybody's seen it. It's the little pieces with the little balls on it, and they vary in size from all the different pieces. And it got its name because it really reminded people of the Candlewick stitching, and a lot of the women did it back then in the 40s and the 50s. And it's made in crystal, miscellaneous colors, and milk glass. It can be etched and hand painted, and most of the time it's so very affordable back in the 40s and the 50s that it was sold at Woolworth and Kresge.
Oh, wow.
A little history on Candlewick. Imperial Glass Company, founded by Edward Mollman, opened its doors in 1904 in Bel Air, Ohio. Earl Newton, who was Imperial's Chicago sales rep, was brought in as president in 1931, and under his direction, Candlewick was released in 1936 and made through the 40s and 50s. The first catalog in 1937 had 50 items. Eventually, they designed over 700 pieces to be used as single items or in sets. In the 50s, though, Boopy glass came around, which was also originally called Berwick, and I know everybody's seen Boopy. In fact, I had some Boopy from my mom, and I donated to the Salvation Army, and I went back to try to buy a piece so I could show you guys, but there wasn't any. But there is some Boopy glass back there, and it looks a lot like Candlewick, and a lot of the new collectors really can mistake it for Candlewick. And on Candlewick, the beads are spaced apart, and on Boopy, they're very close, sometimes touching, sometimes really just close. So it's hard to tell. And also, Boopy has they call it a safe edge or a rolled rim on the glass, where on the Candlewick, it's a finer, it just is a finer looking glass. Boopy's a little bit more heavier. Imperial was sold to the Lennox Company in 1972, and the factory was demolished in the 90s. Reproductions of Candlewick, there was a lot of the molds. Molds were sold to Mirror Image, owns a large number of the molds, reproduced by Dalzell Viking Glass Company from 1987 to 1998. Some of their pieces are marked with the Dalzell name or DX for seconds. Moser Glass Company of Cambridge, Ohio, also produced glass from molds, but they're from the molds sold, but their pieces are not marked. Boyd Art Glass Company of Cambridge also makes them, but they mark their items. How I got started in Candlewick. My mother-in-law, right here, Millie Gross, collected Candlewick for years. She had like 8 dessert plates and the tall tumblers and cups and saucers. And when I started coming around 30 years ago, she would set the most magnificent table, and it was an event just for dessert. Well, when it came time to wash the Candlewick, she washed the Candlewick.
Okay.
But I said, well, let me dry. And when I grabbed the right dish towel, she knew I was okay, because I didn't grab a terry cloth one. She owns about half of this collection because it was divided among 4 of the siblings, and the rest of the stuff I just kind of started picking it up here and there at estate sales, flea markets, garage sales, and on the last bus trip last year when I didn't know a soul and I went on it, I picked up the Stemware glasses. So now I'm just going to get in real quick to show you some of my pieces, and my dear husband Carl is going to help me. Anyways, first of all, they have a dinner plate. There's a dinner plate. There's a 10-inch dinner plate. They make a 9-inch lunch plate I don't have, and they make 2 salad plates, 8-inch and 7-inch, that's the 7-inch, and I have a set of 8 inches, the ones my mother-in-law had that I inherited.
That's good.
The cup and saucer here has got the balls around on the rim. It has a recessed circle to hold the cup, and also it has the famous question mark handle. Tumblers. They made many tumblers,
Yeah.
and this is a 12-ounce iced tea, but they made them so many different sizes, from the little tiny couple-ounce ones to the bigger ones. The stemware starts with a 9-ounce, 9-ounce goblet, which that is, all the way down to a 1-ounce cordial. I have 2 of the 4-ounce cocktail glasses here.
Yeah, don't drop them.
But they make a 4-ounce wine glass, but I use the big 9-ounce stemware for our wine glasses.
Way to go.
The salt and pepper, there's many different styles, but these got 8 little balls on them. The early ones, in the early 40s, had plastic lids, and the later 40s came into the metal lids. I have a cruet here that was my mother-in-law's, and this is the taller version of the cruet, and there's also one with a rounded shape. They're etched on there with vinegar and oil, and most of them have the 3-bead stopper. Now there's a sugar and creamer over there, and that's the taller version. But this is my shorter version with a 6.5-inch tray. Mine doesn't have any raised slots in the tray, but they do come with a plain tray like ours, and the ones with the slots so that they sit securely in the tray. But they made the taller one, and they also made the pour on the creamer larger.
Yeah.
These were my mother-in-law's candlesticks, and mine have a domed foot, and the earlier version had no lip. This one has a lip on it, but I used those candlesticks last year for the Christmas dinner where you had to bring a candlestick, and those I took. And also, over here, Carol Christians was so kind to bring these beautiful double candlesticks from her collection. Okay. This is an 8-inch base, which has the beads on the rim and large beads on the side going inward. They also have them beads going outward. They have that same base with no beads on the top of the rim of the vase. And there's other different styles. They're real famous for the fan vases that you often see, which go like that way. And if you look in my book, there's many different vases. Okay, I have a 6.5-inch relish tray. This is the most frequently found piece of Candlewick, and if you've been to any garage sales or something, you're most likely going to find that little two-section with 2 little tabs with the S design they call, and that's their relish tray. They also make an 8.5-inch relish tray divided in 4 spots, and it's another fairly common piece. And these are bowls. This is a 12-inch bowl and a 6.5-inch divided bowl. They have handles, no handles. There's so many different bowls. And curved rims. There's also 4-footed bowls that have 4 feet on the bottom. There's so many that you can't, you'll find so many when you start looking. My poor husband needs a knee replacement, so. There's a lot of platters and plates out there. I have the ones with the handles on them, and they're also, you can tell by the small center circle, where on the dinner plate, there's a large center circle. The handles are also turned up, and they also made a whole set of oval ones in the trays. A lot of the measurements when they were making these are not precise. They're either called like 10, 10 and a half, 13, 13 and a half. And this is a 13, 13 and a half celery tray. They also make a pickle tray, which looks just like this, except it's 10 and a half inches. Now, this is the 4-piece relish and dressing set, except mine's only 3-piece because I don't have a lid. So I'm looking for a lid if anybody's got an extra one. But this is the earlier version, which had 3 sections and no handles. Later version, when they made this set, it had 5 sections and 5 little tab handles on the outside. This is the 3-piece mayo set. The earlier version has straight slanted sides, the slants outwards. Later version had more of a rounded bowl. The ladle has 3 beads, and they also make it without beads for the ladle. This is the 12 and a half inch Tort cup plate. Imperial also contracted with West Virginia Glass Company to make a glass dome cover for a cake lid so you could turn it into a cake plate. But it makes a great tray for putting things on and serving because with the cupped edge, things don't slide off of it. Now this is a very rare find. This is the Candlewick birthday plate. It has 72 recessed holes. I guess candles back years ago, they were thinner or something because they tell you to sharpen your candles with a pencil sharpener. I used an eyeliner pencil so you could fit them in the tiny little holes. But you would put a birthday cake on there and line it with up to 72 candles. On eBay, they're asking anywhere from $300 to $400 for this. They probably sell realistically for $100 or $100 and a half, but it is a very rare piece and you can't find it. This last piece of mine is a punch bowl set, and I just bought this past weekend. It's a 17-piece set, and I have 12 cups with it, and I bought it off of Facebook. But what really excited me about this piece is I love the bowl, and I thought, what a great bowl for serving a Maurice salad on a buffet and using the tray to put croissants all around. So I thought, maybe I'll use it for punch once, who knows. And I have the original box that came in. And also, here